Hey everybody, CamiBaker.com here, and I am with my friend Catherine Storing, and we are fabulous, fierce, and on fire. And it's Friday. What a great way to start the weekend. I think I might go dance tonight. Fabulous, fierce, on fire Fridays with friends featuring Catherine Storing. And I want to tell you that I met this fabulous woman at a networking event. Oh gosh, it's been about a year ago. I think it was at Kit Payne's event in Boston, and she is just yummy. And when she shared with me what she really does, know this is the best calling card you can ever have. People will ask me, they say, how's your book doing? And I say, it is fabulous. Do I make gazillions of dollars selling it? No. Does it give me credibility to get on stages? Yes. Do people hire me just because I'm an author? Yes. Do I send it out for free to people to get my foot in the door? You betcha. So Miss Catherine helps people to make these. So Catherine, share with our viewers exactly what you was all about, girl.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm just loving this. It's so exciting. It's Friday. Hopefully it's going to warm up later. But yeah, I'm Catherine Storing, and I help amazing people like you write books that are authentic and relevant, because that's what I'm about. I've written about 15 books in a little less than 3 years, and I ghostwrite as well. And I always say that writing can be simple, and it doesn't have to be hard if you know how to do it.
Well, and if it is hard, the good news is that's why you're there.
Exactly.
Because you are the ghostwriter for people to help them get their book out. As I saw in your bio, you said everyone has a book inside them. And you mentioned that you struggled with it. Now you've got 15 that you've put out. Tell us what happened with that struggle and how once you got one out, you just started popping them out left and right.
That's right. Yeah. So the struggle was I wanted to write this amazing, huge book when I couldn't even finish one, right? So I wanted to write the book of my life when I was struggling to just even finish. So that I was putting a lot of pressure on myself to begin with. And I believe many new authors do that. They're like, okay, I'm going to write this epic novel. I'm going to write this epic thing. And they cannot even get through writing 5 days in a row. So I did that for 20 years. For 20 years, I said, I'm going to write it. This is my deadline. This is my new deadline. And I would see the deadline whoosh by me as I didn't finish the book. And after 20 years, I decided, okay, enough of that. I need to get some help so I can finish that one book, an easy book that I could finish. And then I went on to write the book at the time that I needed to write. And like they say, the rest is history.
20 years. Yeah. 20 years you were struggling with it. Now, for me and my story, I was maybe 2 years. Now, I had known for years that I was going to write a book. Now, your epic struggle of wanting to write the book, I already knew. I was waiting to. The story of my life, I'm going to call It's Okay to Tell It If It's the Truth.
That's good.
And it's going to be full of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. So number one, I got to wait for my mom to pass away before I'll put that out. And number two, I got to wait until I am just so financially secure and so solid in my footing that it can't ruin me.
Well, let me tell you this, that your relatives are not going to read the book, so you're fine. I'm giving you permission. My friends and my family, they're most of the time they do not read my books. People that I don't know read my books. So listen, they'll just think it's just another thing that crazy entrepreneurs do. So you'll be just fine. The other thing that I will tell you is that you can also fictionalize the stories and say you have changed some things and still get to tell the stories that you want to tell. So,
well, she may not read the book. As a matter of fact, when my book came out, I mailed her a copy. And to this day, I don't believe she's even read this one. Yep. But there's little stories that if somebody were to say, do you know your daughter want? And I'd be like, oh, I don't want her to know that. So, but now that this book is out, I am securing my financial footing and my posture in the public. And so by the time all of that stuff comes out, I'll be like, yeah, I did that. So what? I'm going to be on the beach. You can come join me or not. But for a couple of years, I did think about what was I going to do with this book. And just like you, I sat around, I would put up, okay, next week, I'm going to devote a whole day to writing. I'm just going to get in my genius zone and write, or I'm going to write 1 hour a week, and just all these different things. And I remember sitting and writing one day, and I wrote and I wrote and I wrote. And when I look back at it, it's good, but it was confusing and it was too much. It was convoluted. And I was just, I don't know, all these different things. I'll share in a minute how I wrote mine, but share with us some stories about some of the people whose books that you've written, and how you met them, and you know, how the whole process goes.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what you're describing is something that every writer goes through, everyone. What I realize is the way to fix that is by having an outline. And I believe we need an outline, which is a business plan. It's a list of what you want to accomplish. You are on point A and you want to end on point Z. If you do that first, instead of writing off the cuff, where you can just go in a whole bunch of different directions, if you do that, when you do that, you are going to be encouraged because your mind is organized. Your brain can follow a pattern and you can write better when you do that. So that was the first thing that I did. I created a system out of desperation because I didn't know how to do that. And as I wrote books, I started to learn different ways. Oh, that works this way. That works that way. And I'm a storyteller. So you told me how do you meet these people? How did you start writing books for other people? I realized that I'm a storyteller. I love teaching with stories. And the more I did that, I was just talking to a friend right before hopping on here. And I met her over 2.5 years ago. And she remembers the first story I ever told when she watched me on social media. Almost 2.5 years ago. Yesterday, another friend who's a coach met me over a year ago. And he quoted the story that I told. Okay. So also what I do, I help people tell their story in a way that anybody can follow and gets excited about.
Give me an example of one of them, a story that really stands out to you. You don't have to share names if you don't want to, or if they're like me, they want that plug. So share a story.
Totally. Yeah. So for me, it's not even a matter of wanting to, because sometimes, as you know, many people don't want to reveal that they work with the ghostwriter. It's their content anyway, but there's still a stigma about working with the ghostwriter. But I'm working with 2 amazing young men right now, and they are telling the world that I am their ghostwriter, and my name is actually undercover. And they're writing this amazing book about, it's called Think Great, Lose Weight. And they are just amazing. But when I was working with them, they are such experts. Their level is up here. So when they start explaining something and we hear it, we're like, like, what is that? So what I do is I take the content, I look at it or what they say and say, okay. And then I ask questions. Then I'm like, okay, so what you're trying to say is this, but you said that. And then when they read it, they're like, yeah, that's what we said. And I'm like, no, that's not what you said. That's what you meant to say. But now it's a little more condensed. That's the other thing that people feel like when they tell anecdotes. One of the authors, he's amazing, but he loves to tell stories and he tells you every detail that happened. And most people do that. So when I go in, I listen to the story and it might be, I don't know, 1,500 words. By the time I finish, it's 500 or maybe 250, because what we want is the beginning and the punchline. That's all you need. And those are the kind of things that I do with my authors.
Well, and besides that, there's a big difference in how we talk and how we write.
Right.
Huge different way of communicating. You know, it's funny that you said some of your people don't want to reveal that they work with a ghostwriter. It's so funny how people's egos work. I was having lunch with Laurel Langelmeyer one time about it. As a matter of fact, right before I wrote my book, I was speaking with her about this, and I thought, wow, that's so transformational. She said, I've authored, I don't remember if it was 8 or 10. She'd authored a lot of books. I mean, this woman she doesn't make 7 figures. She makes 8 figures. She shows up to events in her own private jet. She helps people to take the money that they got and make it into massive amounts. Awesome. She said, I'm an author, but I am not a writer. And my name, my picture is on the cover of every book that I have authored, but I did not sit down and write any of them. It was really interesting when she said this. We were at an event in California, and there was a guy pitching his idea about how to teach people how to write, not be a ghostwriter, but to help them learn how to write. She said, I don't want anybody to teach me how to write. I want them to write it for me. Exactly. So somebody like that, she's like, she doesn't care. She's not proud about it. She's like, look, My book's got my picture, my name on it, and that's all I need to know. So typically people aren't even going to ask you if somebody ghosts.
They're not. And it's the content. What happens is they don't realize that a ghostwriter is a scribe. They listen to your story, they make it even better, and they put it in book formats. But if you were to read the story, a book from your friend that I ghostwrote for them, you will really be like, oh my God, you say this phrase all the time, or this is how you sound. The sign of a good ghostwriter is when they can embody their author and the words sound just like if the author had wrote it, because they really did.
Well, the way that I finally decided to do my book, I had gone to a series of events in California. I was speaking and I was meeting all these copywriters and people that could publish your book. And this one wanted $12,000 to publish your book and put it out on social media, blah, 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 blah. But what I got from all of them, it's interesting you said outline, because I was just typing. But here's how I did my outline. This person said, come up with the 10 things that people typically ask you about the most as an expert, your guys with the food, a workout person, whatever it is. For me, it's about networking and building business relationships. What are those things that you hear over and over and over? That's a typical question, comment, misconception that you know about. What are those 10 things? And write those down. And then take the 3 things that if they knew what you know, that they would be asking. In other words, what are the things that you really want people to know that they don't even, they're ignorant about knowing? But if they knew what you knew, this is what they would ask, and then share stories about those 3 things. Awesome. So I wrote all of those down, and that was basically the outline of the book. Does that sound anything at all like something you would do?
That's definitely a different approach. I'm working with people now, and I have my own system to write their expert book. So what you have is an expert book, right? It's like when people see it and they're looking for someone that's a connector, that knows how to network, Cami Baker comes up, right? That is what you do. So there's different ways of doing an outline. I have my own way. I definitely think that's an interesting. I think it worked for you. When I picked up your book, it sounds like you. So you did an awesome job.
Well, thank you. And the way that I did it was I kept hearing at these conferences that books today are very hands-on, very integrated with video and audio, links to video that go with this chapter. I had read a book that had video. Every chapter that I read, there was a video that was 45 minutes of the woman talking with this whole group of other women that were asking questions about the book. It was very interactive. So I thought, well, instead of writing the book and then doing it to voice and then making videos that go with it, I reverse engineered it. So I took those 10 questions, and then the 3 things people should know. And I got a videographer, and I had a professional place set up, and I just took them one at a time and just did a video. So I did a video about said topic of each of the 13, whether it was a 3-minute topic or a 25-minute topic, and had it videotaped. And then I had that videotape transcribed, and then I gave the transcription to my editor and publisher. So, what you were saying about how I mentioned how people don't talk and write the same, she kind of ghost wrote it for me, because I was talking and I was using my body language and I was using my Southern twang and, whatever, words that I would use.
Right.
And God bless her. She had to take it and basically rewrite it to make it make sense in the written word. Right. So are you also an editor? Do you help publish too?
Yeah, so my expertise is, if I go write a book for you, it includes everything. Making sure that the content is right, that your cover looks right. We work with an amazing company for that. And then the book gets professionally edited. I created my own system to edit as well. So I edit it, my team edits it, then it goes back to the client. And then after it comes back with whatever things they wanted to add or remove, then it goes back to another round of editing. As you know, people are picking up your book and they want to make sure they're looking at the quality of that book, and they think of that as how you work. So it's gotta be really well done. And I help the authors also with their publishing strategy, which most people don't do. They'll help you with the writing. They might put it out there for you, but they try to do this cookie cutter way of marketing a book that it might work for somebody, it might not work for somebody else. Like, I don't want to feel salesy. I'm a giver. I'm gonna give you a story. I'm gonna tell you a story, and if it resonates with you, great. If it doesn't, great as well. So it's a very inclusive process, which is why I don't take that many ghostwriting clients, because in 3 to 6 months we are working really close, and we are learning each other's way of communicating.
That is so time consuming, and you really get in there and roll up your sleeves. God bless you. I mean, I work with clients for 3 to 6 months too. And we might talk once a week or once every other week, or whatever our arrangement is. But I mean, all that writing and editing, whoo, girl, that's a lot of stuff.
Fun. Again, it's fun. And I have a team of people too. So it's not like I'm doing all of that, but I am the brains behind it. I'm having the conversations. I'm drawing out the content. Because the other thing is, when you're an expert, you don't even know what you know. You know, like when you go home and you get home and you're like, I don't remember driving through that street, but you obviously did because you got home. So that's the same thing with experts. I was talking to a client on Wednesday and I asked him a question and he's like, oh, I don't know. And I had to put my coach hat on, and I had to coach him through the process of telling me. And it took a little bit of time, but when he got on the roll, I asked the right questions and he told me exactly what he does. And I was like, do you see why it takes an expert? Because if he was writing and he had to write that section, he would just sit there and be like, okay, what do I do? What do I do? How do I do that? But if somebody's prompting you with the right questions, you're going to get there because you know it. Obviously, you know it.
Well, and the other thing about being an expert, whatever your field is, sometimes we as experts will go in one of two different directions. We'll either get so technical and so complicated and so detail oriented and so much stuff. Like used to, when I would get on stages, I had a list of things. Don't forget to do this. You got to do this, and write this down, and forget it. And I could see people's eyes just they would look around like they wanted to process the information, but then I was on to the next thing, and they nobody had time to take it all in. I was like a fire hose of all this information and I realized I need to take all that stuff that I think people need to know, and I need to cut it in half.
Yep.
And then I need to cut it in half again and start talk a little bit slower and have more experiences in my writing. And the other thing that experts will do is, to your point, they kind of stop. In other words, they'll think they forget what it's like to be new.
Yeah.
They assume that just because they know it, other people know it, and it's common sense. And of course, you know to do this. I mean, duh, but that's just not the case. So it's awesome to have some, look, that's what coaches and mentors are for. Coaches and mentors help you see what you need, help you see, because the tree is right here. Right. And there's this whole forest and you can't see it because the tree's right there. So that's what you're helping people do. You're helping to pull the story out of them, dummy it down so that we can take the baby bird bites and take in the information, but also give them enough information that it shows that they are the expert and the authority in their industry. Yes,
that's perfectly said, and it's organized. What happens is that when we're going off the cuff, we don't know the steps unless we have done that work of what are my steps, what is the system. I'm working with a new client. She's right. It's going to be an amazing book. And we did it in an hour and a half. We outlined her book and she's like, that's going to be a great book. I'm like, yeah, it is. And it's what you do now. I said, when people pick this book up, this is your menu of items that you do. What services do you offer? And in such a way that has anecdotes, stories, principles, breaks it down, but it's not an encyclopedia, okay? It's not going to be 300 pages long. People are not reading long books anymore. It's going to be technical, but practical at the same time. So anybody in any industry will be able to learn from it, because it's not this way, but it's not this way either. It's just I love a medium. I love gray. People they're either white or black. And they have these two extremes of, I'm going to give them everything or I'm going to give them nothing, and forget about the beautiful color of gray in the middle, where you can meet people and be like, okay, I'm going to help you whether you're an expert or a beginner.
Didn't we talk about making a book called Meeting in the Gray?
That's your next book. Cannot wait for it to come out. Absolutely.
But it's so true. You think, I know for me, when I was in the process of thinking about writing the book, it was overwhelming. Well, how many pages do I need? You know, do I need 300 pages? And I was questioning people. So how long should a book be? And then I'd look at books and I'd pick them up and well, how much typing do I need to do to get that many pages? It's too much. It's overwhelming, and it stops you dead in your tracks. And so someone like you can help with that. And when you talk about putting it in the right order, I know when I sent these videos, the transcriptions over to my publisher at the time, she said, well, you know, this chapter should really go here. Right. And at first I told her, I said, look, I'm the easiest client. I'm a driver personality. Be brief, be bright, be gone. Just go get it done. I was glad I made the videos. I got them transcribed here. You do it. And so when she started saying, well, this chapter, and at first I started kind of questioning. I said, you know what, whatever you say, I just wanted to have this in my hands so that I could hand it out. And I am telling you, people that are watching, if you are a business person of any kind, now, you know, Catherine can help you get a book out, even if it's just your soul that needs to express itself. And even if it's about something that you just want to leave for posterity for your kids. And even if you just want to say, I'm an author. But as a business person, you are cray if you don't write a book, if you don't get one out there. So one of the things that makes Catherine and I a perfect synergy is that when I talk to people from the stage and I talk about, so my book is about Mingle to Millions, the art and science of building business relationships and mastering referrals. And so everybody always thinks of me as the networking expert, the business building expert, but it takes a lot of different forms. And one of those forms is be seen, be heard, be the authority in your marketplace and in your industry, whether that means, you know, getting on stages and getting on TV and radio like I help people do, or whether it means just walking in with the right posture and presence and packaging.
I think maybe she got a phone call. Let's see if she comes back. So let's hang in there, guys. You know what happens with technology, that sometimes that stuff happens. So we're just gonna wait for Cami to come back. But make sure that you post your questions on this link. We will be monitoring this replay page. So you can post your questions about your book, about writing, and we will do our very best to answer as quickly as we can. Oh, there we go. So she just hopped out. That's totally okay. I can mind the fort until she comes back. But yeah, so Cami was sharing. Make sure that I can see she's texting me. When you are writing, many people. There she is. There she is. I was holding the fort.
Okay. Well, I just put on a different computer. I don't know. See, I just bought another computer last Monday, and now I have another computer. Okay. So as I was saying, so when I talk to people about being seen and being heard, you know, a big part of that is, as I keep saying, having the book. I ain't helping you write a book. I don't want to help you write a book. Catherine can help you write a book. And on the flip side, when you have a book, there's certain things that she can do to help you publicize it. But then there's people like myself that can help you to have example. Did you see what I did on Facebook Live when I went in Barnes and Noble and put my book on the shelf?
No, I didn't. I'm going to have to see that.
So I heard that one of the many ways, you know, you hear all these tips about how you can get your book to be number one and all that stuff. I heard that if your book is on the shelf at Barnes and Noble and they're going through and doing their inventory and ordering, if there's only one book, they'll go to the scanner and they'll scan it and they'll actually order more.
Oh, that's
now I don't know if that's true or not, but here's the fun thing: posturing, packaging, and positioning yourself. I went in that store, put my book on the shelf, took photos of me pointing at my book on the shelf at Barnes and Noble, And before I even went in, I did a Facebook Live and I said, I'm going in Barnes & Noble. I'm going to put my book on the shelf. And even after I said that and did that, I put that photo up there and I had all these comments. Congratulations, Cami. So awesome. Your book's at Barnes & Noble. Because people, you know, they just saw the book on the shelf and that's what they believed.
Right.
So it's just these fun little ways of guerrilla marketing, of thinking outside the box, of walking with such purpose and passion and excitement about having a book that you think about these things. Tell us some of the things that you do to help people be seen with their book.
Absolutely. And I will definitely, before you do that, let you know that to put the view on speaker view, right now it's on gallery view. So if you click on Zoom, you'll be able to see that, the little on the top right corner.
Say that again.
Just click on speaker view on the top right corner there, because right now it's only one speaker at a time, and before we had two.
Is that better?
Let's see, because I'm looking at it live. No, it's still just one person at a time, but that's okay. That's okay. All right, awesome. So you were asked, what was the question again?
How do you help people to get the word out about their book?
Oh my God. So I was teaching last night about to my students. So I have an online academy, a writing academy, and I have many students all over the world. And what they do is they pay me. I gladly take the money. I teach them how to write the book. They write the book, and then it becomes a beautiful masterpiece that sits on a mantle and nobody knows about it, right? So that's what happens. So that's not gonna fly for me, okay? If they pay me all that money and they did all that work, and I can be a slave driver, I will admit to that. You're not gonna go through all of that and not tell people about the book. So what I mentioned earlier was having an authentic book marketing plan. And I think that's what you do as well in another way, where it has to be authentic to you. If I were to do, for example, a book infomercial, those things that you see at 3:00 in the morning when you get in people's faces and you say, but wait, there is more. I don't think I could do that. That is not authentic to me. However, there's other people out there that have the energy. They love doing that stuff, and it's going to work because it's authentic to who they are. So what I teach people figured out is, okay, what is your platform? What is your social media platform that you want to dominate, that you feel you can get on wearing a ponytail, being your funny self, and sharing something about your book? I never sell books. That's not my job. I am in the business of confirmation. I share something. If you need it and you hear it, you're like, oh my God, I was looking for that. I need to buy your book. As opposed to me saying, here's my latest book, buy my book. And you're like, first of all, I don't know who you are. Second of all, you don't even know if I read real books or Kindle books or audio books, and you don't even know that I need this. It's like when I won a contest one time, and it was for tanning, for booth tanning sessions. Look at me. Do I need tanning? So that's like my perfect example. We try to give people something that they don't even need. But if you're giving content, they might buy the book only for themselves or for somebody else. It's just one example.
Well, that's so funny. If you ever get any more free tanning, give it to me because I'm the whitest person you know.
Okay, I will.
So that's just another example. So for our viewers and our listeners to understand that there's a lot of different ways to promote your book, to use your book to your advantage. For me, I like to walk into an event with my book in my hand. If there's a table, I'll put my book down right where I'm sitting. The other day I walked into an event, and one of the things that I help my clients with is just being so centered and grounded and so full of confidence that when they walk in the room, they are the event no matter what. Okay. So I walk in this room and I hear it's a small room. There's maybe 25 people, and I'm cognizant. I'm always noticing what's going on. I'm listening. I notice body language. I hear everything. Over in the corner, I hear these women say, who's the speaker today? I wonder who it is. I walk in, I've got 2 books in my hand. I put my stuff down, I put the books on the table, and one of them says, that must be the speaker. Wow. And I, being the person that I am, I piped right in. I said, well, no, I'm not the speaker today, but I will be speaking here in a couple of months. But the thing is, it was all about posture. So sometimes I will tell people, here's Let me give you the analogy of Dumbo. Do you know Dumbo, the story of Dumbo, the old Disney movie?
Yeah, totally.
Do you know when he's got the feather, the birds give him the feather so that he thinks that if he's holding the feather, he can fly?
Mm-hmm.
So Dumbo could fly anyway. He just didn't believe in himself. But holding this magic feather, boy, he could fly because of the feather. So he's flying around with that feather. And then later on in the story, when he drops the feather, you know, and Timothy the mouse says, "It's okay, Dumbo. You always could fly. We were just tricking you, man. Jump, jump, jump." And he flew. The book is your magic feather.
Love it.
You always could fly. You always could get on stages. You always could walk in with that confidence. You always could get on and do a Facebook Live or talk to people with that kind of posture. Like, yeah, you know what? Here's what I've got to offer your people. But it's having that magic feather. Because to your point, let's face it, most people aren't going to read it anyway. My mom's not reading it. My daughter's in the book. She didn't read it. And the people that get the book, unless they are going to work with me and I say, hey, you need to read the book, so we're all literally on the same page, they're really not reading it. But just seeing it, just knowing that you're an author changes how they look at you.
Totally.
Authors are more respected than doctors are anymore.
It's amazing. I have gone to events. I've been talking to people, and a friend comes over and say, "Oh, did you know Catherine's written 15 books?" I have seen people literally stand up taller and straighter just because they found out that I was an author.
Exactly. I teach people about edification and how to raise people up. I've watched it for years when I was in network marketing. You can see when you say something about even as simple as that, oh, not only is she an author, she has 15 books. They do this.
Right. I love it.
Right? It's awesome. It is the best credibility. So for our viewers, for our listeners, for our people that see this for months and years to come, tell them how they can reach you. And of course, we're going to have it, whether you're watching this as a Facebook Live or whether you're watching it as a Zoom recording, we're going to have both of our information there. But tell people what's the best way to contact you and talk to you about helping them to create the best marketing piece God ever created.
That's awesome. Yeah, so they can go to my website, either catherinestoring.com or writingmadesimple.today. Now tomorrow, writingmadesimple.today. They can find me either way there.
Nice. Well, if you are watching because you're a CamiBaker.com fan and you know that having a book made is something that you need to do, because I've said it about 1,000 times, then you need to talk to Miss Catherine. And if you're part of Catherine's tribe and you're getting a book written, or you're wanting to get a book written because you're wanting to use it as a business tool and you're wanting to be seen and be heard and be the authority and the expert in your marketplace, you need to talk to me. Because when she's got that book, and do not wait until the book is in your hand. This is a huge mistake that I hear from a lot of people. Well, when my book is done, then I will do this, or this. So you are procrastinating, you're putting it off, and you're creatively avoiding getting out and doing something. I was on hundreds of stages before my book ever came out. My book came out 1 year ago at the time of this taping, and now I'm on the second edition of it. I added an extra chapter to it, but I was speaking long before. And for 2 years, when I was thinking about the book, I was struggling with what would the title be, et cetera, et cetera. I would tell people, my name's Cami Baker and I'm the author of the forthcoming book, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And I had different titles. It wasn't even this title back then. Thank God I came up with this title. It's a little lengthy, but it explains exactly what I do. But the point is, you have to be that author. You have to be that speaker. You have to be that powerful presence so that you will do what that person would do and then have what they will have. Do not wait until that book is in your hand. You're missing the boat. Would you agree?
Totally. I always tell people that the moment you decide you're going to write the book, you're an author. I was teaching last night. I was telling them, when you have the book cover, okay, I'll give you this one, guys, for free. You don't even have to pay for this one. Get the book cover, make it the profile picture of Facebook or any platform that you're allowed to. Put the date of when it's coming, and that is like cashing a check that you don't have money in your account to pay for, okay? But what happens is, now that you told on yourself, you have no choice. You have no choice but to write that book, because now you told everybody and their brother and they're expecting it, but you're going to be talking on a regular basis about that book in a way that is authentic to you. Not what everybody else does, what you would feel is comfortable for you.
Yeah, you're putting it out there. Look, this is my goal. Now you've got to put up or shut up. You got to keep that appointment, with getting it done. I love it. I love it. And I would love to come on and speak to some of your people about, now that they're working with you, what are they going to do with the book? And I've got some group programs coming up soon too, that when I'm talking to them about what they're doing, here's somebody that can do the book for you. Catherine Storing, it has been my honor and pleasure to have you on Fabulous, Fierce, and on Fire Fridays with Friends, featuring Catherine Storing. Hey, I'm going to go out dancing tonight. You want to go out dancing?
I have a date with my daughter tonight. Otherwise, I would.
Good for you. I thought you were going to say you had a hot date.
Mother-daughter dates. No, I'm dating my business right now, but that dating, it's coming. It's coming.
Well, let's talk about going out sometime, girl. Guys, we really enjoyed sharing our time with you, and we're going to sign off now. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.